Hello, Dave. Thank you so much for coming to my home here in Zimbabwe. My name is Solomon Guramatunhu. I'm an eye specialist here in Zimbabwe. I was born in a small town called Nyazura in the Eastern Highlands, or in Manicaland. My father worked for the Baffansteins in Nyazura. We grew up in the rural areas, but we would go to the farm where my father worked for Louis and Ida Baffanstein. So I remember being a young fellow just running around on the farm, and we'd just see the Baffansteins from a distance, and we got to know their children, especially Daryl. And as we grew up, we started interacting with Daryl a lot, especially my older brother, Langton. He was very close to Daryl. But the thing is, we just remember Mrs. Baffanstein was always interested in education. She really wanted to make sure that we all go to school. But my father was very close to Louis Baffanstein, and Louis Baffanstein had horses, and he was interested in betting. So he used to go to Borodale Racecourse, where his horses would be competing, and he'd go with my father. And so my father was always well suited. I think Louis Baffanstein used to give him his old suits, and they were always together. And because of the betting, I think Louis must have lost some money sometimes betting. So did my father. And that would frustrate Ida Baffanstein and my mother as well. So in the end, Ida Baffanstein decided that my father's salary would be given to my mother to ensure that school fees was always paid. Later on, after I finished my O-levels, Ida Baffanstein got in touch with their family friends, the McGregors. Mrs. McGregor was Jewish, but she married, I think against the faith, she married as a Scottish man, McGregor, who used to work for the Rhodesian government. And their son, Alan, was the first head boy of Waterford Kamhlaba School, a private school, which was started in Swaziland, just next door to South Africa, because they were very anti-apartheid. So Alan, through his mother and Ida Baffanstein, got me a place in Waterford School. That's why I went to private school. And that changed my life completely. So I'm so grateful for this, because after that, I never looked back. And because of the exposure that I had, I was able to help all my siblings, because we were 7 of us. And my elder brother was close to Daryl. He joined the liberation struggle, went to Mozambique. So he just disappeared. So all of a sudden, I became the eldest in the family. And Langton had been given a job, in fact, by Ida Baffanstein at Louis Lumber Company. So she was always trying to see that my father's children would do well. And my father, I remember him telling me that Ida Baffanstein said to my father, he said, "John, your pension is Solomon," referring to me. And it turned out to be like that, because I was able to educate all my siblings, and also look after my father. So in fact, my father, in the end, in his pension, stayed in my house, and he actually died in my house. But we were very close, even to the end, even right now to the Baffansteins. My father, can you imagine this? This guy was a domestic servant, and now he had 2 children who had degrees in nursing in England, and he had 2 daughters in the States. One is a professor in North Carolina, one did an MBA, she works in Washington. And he flew to spend some time in England and some time in the States. And Daryl invited him, because Daryl did very well. He was a top immigration lawyer, and he's got farms and so on. So my father spent some time with Daryl, and they went to these horses. There's a word for them, in Texas, where they have. But my father went there, and Daryl bought my father lots of suits, a watch, shoes. And he came back and he said to me, "I've done what I never thought I'd experience in my life. If I die now, I'm a very content man." That's what my father said. And so it's been just an unbelievable story. The Baffansteins changed my life, but not only that, changed my whole family's narrative. So all my father's kids are well educated. Langton went to the war, he never came back okay. But it's an interesting story, because my brother who got arrested in Mozambique because him and his group wanted to overthrow Mugabe in Mozambique. And he became a prisoner. And Daryl, while I was in the States, he saw the picture of my brother in Newsweek as a prisoner with his hands like this. He didn't tell me at the time. Only later he told me, he said, well, Solomon, I saw this, but I didn't want to worry you, so I didn't tell you, but I saw Langton's picture in Newsweek magazine. So it's been a close link. So Stella, Daryl's sister who lives in Cape Town, we're in constant touch. And I just spoke to Stella's son who's in Zambia. So we are really family. That's what it is. And Daryl will speak quite often. So after high school in Swaziland, I came back to the University of Rhodesia then. And of course, you know, it was still under Rhodesia. Daryl had been expelled from University of Cape Town because of his then considered left-wing views. He didn't agree with apartheid at all. So he came back to the University of Rhodesia, and now I'm a student in medical school, he's in law school, and then Michael Salam was doing physiology at some time. Now his brother-in-law, Dennis Skolnick, was my classmate in medical school. So, and of course Margaret Borrock was ahead of me, and I knew the Baffansteins were very close to the Borrocks. And then, so I finished medical school, and then I went to Scotland to specialize in ophthalmology. So I was in Glasgow. And Mrs. Ida Baffanstein by that time had moved to Israel, and she was in Ranana. And she used to call me almost like every week. And sometimes, of course, I'd send her flowers. And when I wasn't there, I should leave a message, say, tell Solomon that his mother phoned from Israel. So everybody used to say, but how come your mom is Jewish and she lives in Israel? They couldn't understand this. And one of the saddest days in my life when I heard that she'd passed on, because I knew she was not well, because she had cancer, and then she passed on. And it was Alan McGregor, the very guy who was his, Alan's mother, I think she was Fiona McGregor. She was very close to Ada Baffanstein right to the end. So she told Alan when Ada Baffanstein passed away, Alan phoned me from London. And then, yeah, it was really sad. And I told myself that one day I would have to go to Israel, to her grave, to pass my condolences, but also more importantly, to really express my gratitude and respect for what she did for me and my family. So when I came back, I started my practice. I think, you know, was a kid at Sharon School. When I had made some money, I took my son, who was in Sharon School, and I went with him to Israel. And we went to Ranana. And there were some of her friends who were in Bulawayo and here, who were now living in Israel. And they took me to the cemetery in Ranana. And this is a strange thing that happened, because I had flowers. The moment I laid flowers on her grave, it started raining. And in my Shona culture, that is extremely important. It's like she was acknowledging my presence. So she could see that I was there, and she was responding to me. And that was very, just amazing for me. Yeah, so I toured Israel. You know, I went all over the place, and I did some scuba diving in Eilat as well. Yeah, so I had so much fun. But interestingly, you know, we are still very, very close to the Baffansteins, to Daryl and his sister Stella. Interesting enough, you know, I think last month, Daryl's ex-girlfriend, Barbara Nussbaum, was in the States. And my sisters came. And Norma, who's Jewish and was also here and now lives in the States, and another lady, like Daryl's current girlfriend, the three of them were there. So my sister said to Daryl, Daryl, isn't it amazing that all your three girlfriends are here with us? But we laughed about that. And in fact, last month also, my sisters, Stella, Daryl's sister flew from Cape Town to spend some time with Daryl. And two of my other sisters, one in England and the other one also went to visit. And they were together, so they sent me pictures. So yeah, we're very close and we still phone each other with Daryl. It's just been an amazing story. Yes, so Daryl was very fluent in Shona. He still speaks Shona even today. And Shona he was taught by my father. And he also could play the guitar. And he was taught how to play the guitar by my father. So, you know, you always used to mention John, my father, and how close my father was to his father. And then, of course, through the Bafansteins, I got to know the Salems, Joe, and of course his son, Mike. And when I went to visit Israel, I met, of course, Joe and Leonora, yes. I went to have a dinner at their house. And I met Mike. In fact, Mike drove me to the airport when I was leaving. You know, I should tell you this because I remember Mike saying to me, you know, Solomon, having been born in Zimbabwe and grown up in Israel and see what's happening in Israel, every Zimbabwean should be a millionaire because of the wealth here, the natural wealth and everything else. And I always remember that. And when I see some of the things that we are doing, I wish we had that spirit in Israel, in Zimbabwe. We would just like fly, you know? Yeah, so it's just an incredible experience for me to have met all these wonderful people. And you mentioned Hilton Bick, who's a good friend of Daryl. They were on a farm together, and Henry, also Jewish, and an anesthetist. So the three of them, I met them through Daryl. So each time I went to States, I would meet these guys. And Hilton, of course, was from Blue Whale. And he came here, we stayed together here. So yeah, I'm very much involved with these guys. Yeah, it's just been a wonderful time. So one of the exciting periods of my life was, you know, coming back as an eye specialist. And I had the privilege to be able to develop the department. And I must tell you that there were a group of Jewish ladies here. They did an organization which they knew my story with the Bafansteins, and they decided to help me. They raised funds to buy equipment to equip the eye hospital. And I then started the training for eye specialists in Zimbabwe. It's still running very well. And then I became chairman of Bindura University of Science and Education. And there I was able to start the first school of optometry as well. And then the other, one thing we did was lots of cataract surgeries in the rural areas for the poor people. And there was an organization from Israel but based in the States. And they sent Dr. Pogas, who became a friend of mine, with his family. And he was also doing the same thing, moving around and doing free cataract operations. So professionally, it's been very rewarding. And I have other interests as well. I'm an art collector, and I became chairman of the National Gallery of Zimbabwe. So I travel a lot with art, going to Venice Biennale, London Art Week, Christie's. And the Christie's people came here, and I hosted them for dinner. And MoMA from Museum of Modern Art, they also came here. I hosted them here as well. So I'm very much in the art world. And as I mentioned, I do lots of scuba diving, and I also become a dancer. I'm a dance instructor for Latino dancing. And so I go to Cuba, I go to Argentina, I go to Brazil, learning how to dance, yeah. So, yeah, I owe my life, really, to the Bafansteins, especially Ida Bafanstein. Yeah, well, from where I came from my father, of course. Unfortunately, my mother died when I was in high school in Swaziland. So when I came back, my father had retired now. And this Mr. Bafanstein was back in Israel. So he was just in the village. And after a short time when I started medical school, my brother got involved in politics and he left for Mozambique. So, Daryl was very sorry. He just realized that, the breadwinner was gone. And I'm just starting medical school. So I had to become the senior one in the family. And I used to go to medical school as well as sell tickets, for the TEF club to raise funds. So with that money, I was able to send all my siblings to boarding schools. And then, as I said, they all grew up, and now they're all settled in England and in the States. And in this country, just me and my brother. Normally he'd be here, but he was always smoking, marijuana, post-traumatic. After the war, I think he never really recovered. So right now he's at Athol Evans. So he's well taken care of there. So I just saw him last week. So I see him almost every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. And we're so happy everybody's done well. Then I have 2 boys and 2 girls. And the 2 boys, they're running around between South Africa and here. They do real estate. And the one girl just qualified as an eye specialist also. And the other girl did a degree in linguistics and Mandarin. But she loves theater. She's always at Reps Theater. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just been an incredible journey. Our friend, mutual friend, Barbara Nussbaum, when she comes, she stayed here with me when she comes to Harare. And one of her birthday parties was right here. So she invited quite a few of her friends, some Jewish people as well. And we had a birthday party for her right here. So we're all like one big, happy family.
I want to thank you for taking part in this.
David, it's a pleasure,
and
man.
It's
a
an important
pleasure.
story.
Yes.
It links cultures.
Yes.
And it links a lot of what I think Jewish ethics is about.
Yes.
And I think it's fantastic that you have been so successful, and to see that your daughter is continuing.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's great.
Yeah. And the fact that, after so many years, we and the Buffers were still like just one tight family like this. Yeah.